Hello, Sarah Beard here from SJB Assessments and Dyslexia Solutions Online. A question we often get asked is, are we qualified to assess for ADHD, ASD, DCD, DLD? Lots of LDs there, isn't there? ADHD, I think everybody knows. DLD is developmental language disorder. DCD is dyspraxia or developmental coordination disorder. And ASD is autistic spectrum disorder or difficulties, depending on which term you prefer. No, we can't we are not qualified to diagnose those, and there's no one professional that can diagnose all those conditions. Those conditions are diagnosed by either paediatricians, psychiatrists, occupational therapists, or speech and language therapists. But what we can do is, if your background evidence from you and the school suggests a particular difficulty, and more often than that, that's attention and concentration difficulties, or it could be social communication difficulties or language difficulties, then we will look at that within our assessment, and we will take into consideration that child's needs, make recommendations where we can, but also recommend onward referral. Now, sometimes parents might come and there might not be very little in the background, but actually a child we see from talking to that child, observing that child and working with that child, we do suspect that it is another condition. There's a huge overlap between all of them, especially dyslexia and developmental language disorder, and ADHD and dyslexia as well. So sometimes a child might have a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and sometimes we diagnose dyslexia, other times we don't, and it might well be that we say, well, this doesn't look like dyslexia, it does look like it could be attention and concentration difficulties. We have to be careful with our language, because we can't say we think this child has ADHD, because we are not qualified to use that term ADHD. So we will always talk about it as being attention and concentration difficulties. Or if it's DLD, we might say they've got difficulties with expressive language, receptive language, motor coordination for dyspraxia, and social communication difficulties for ASD. But our general conclusion on this is always based on many factors: the background information, the observation of the child, and the test results. And if anyone tells you they can diagnose all of them, that is totally wrong. Now, what we do have here at SJB Assessments is we do have some screening tools. So we have what's called QB Check, which is a detailed computerized screening for ADHD. Doesn't give you a diagnosis, but it will give you more of an indication if that is a difficulty with you or your child, depending on who's being assessed, because we assess adults as well. And then sometimes that can help to get you on the pathway for a professional referral and therefore a diagnosis as well. We also work very closely with a speech and language therapist, a private speech and language therapist we can refer onto. So do bear in mind there are further ways to explore these conditions, but we can't formally diagnose them. Thank you. Goodbye.